up, everybody? It's finally June. The weather's finally starting to turn a little bit. The Memorial Day weekend weather was not the best. My intentions this morning was to head out for Flounder, try for them. Opening day was last week, and figured I would get out and get a shot at them today. But I got out here and the water's cold. The water's only 60 degrees. We have a nice outgoing tide, so I want to give the tide a chance to start to come back in. I know that's kind of against the grain. You want to have an outgoing tide this time of year, but the water's cold, so maybe the bite will turn on later. The water's also dirty, so I'm figuring the incoming tide might clean it up a little bit. So in the meantime, on my way out here, I'm going to try to mess with some stripers and weakfish and see if I can get any on artificials. So right now, I'm going to use just a white smack it popper, white and black, on a spinning rod. This is a Shimano Stratic 4000 reel. You can get away with a 3000. This is kind of a bit heavy. And I got 15-pound test on this with a 7-foot light action spinning rod. So I'm just going to go down to the sod banks, pick any sod bank, and see if I can find some stripers. All right, so stay tuned. After that, we'll try to go out and catch some flounder. First striper of the day. First striper of the day. It's probably about 22 inches on the popper. Okay guys, we're going to try for some flounder. I use a simple 2-hook rig. I tie the rig myself. It's basically a jig or whatever you want to put on the bottom. In this case, I'm using Berkeley Gulp on probably a 3/8 ounce jig head. I use a loop. I don't like to use a lot of swivels and a lot of hardware, so I use a loop there. I go up about 18 inches or so. I put a loop in the line here, and I put on another hook. I use a circle hook on the top, even with flounder. It seems to work pretty well. You can put whatever you want up here. You can put a live minnow, you can put a grass shrimp, you can put, in this case I have a gulp. You can put any type of grub you want on there, but something else on the top hook just to give yourself an extra teaser, okay? And all I'm going to do is just jig it on the bottom. See how we do. The water's cold, but we'll see if we get any, all right? Right now we have a little bit of everything against us. We have wind against tide. It's not a real heavy wind. It's like 5 to 10, but it's enough to keep your drift from, keep you from going anywhere. The tide's not real strong, but it's the very end. And looks like we hooked our first one. Let's see if this is a keeper. It's gonna be close. Oh yeah, he makes it. 19, first keeper of the day. So let's talk a little bit about the flounder. So flounder, they have a brown top, a white bottom. They sit on the bottom like this, and when your bait goes by, they come up and they feed at it. You know, they'll come up and hit it. They have a big mouth. All right, I'll show you. So a lot of people think they're not a predator. They are most definitely a predator. You look at how big his mouth is when you open it up. He's not letting me open it up too much, but there he is right there. And he has teeth in there, all right? They'll come up and they'll take in a pretty big bait. So this guy was just laying there on the bottom. As soon as I turned the trolling motor and used the trolling motor to basically negate the wind against tide and give me somewhat of a drift, he hit it, just as I was talking about it. So definitely a nice fish. He's basically 19 if he closes his mouth. 19 inches. First keeper of the year going in the box. Alright, so first keeper flounder of the year caught on the Gulp jerk shad. Alright, so again, Gulp does the trick. A lot of times this stuff will outfish the live bait. Let's talk about tackle for today. I was using a spinning rod earlier, but I switched and put that, I put a popper on there because I was catching some stripers this morning. So I'm just using a conventional rod. This is nothing big. This is a 6500 Abu Garcia on a 7-foot rod. It's actually probably a little heavy for back here, but I do like using conventional when I'm fishing for flounder just because I can let more line out. It's easy just to hit the button and let line out. You know, with flounder, you don't want to set the hook right away. You saw on that last one I just caught, I was actually talking to the camera, and the fish, I just felt dead weight on there. I gave it a second, pulled up, and I had a fish on. So as soon as I turned that trolling motor into the wind, and again, it's not much of a wind, but it's enough to keep you not moving, and you have to move with flounder. So as soon as I turned it into the wind, not even a minute later, first flounder of the year. So hopefully we get some more. As far as spots, fishing spots, today I'm fishing the Intercoastal. It's a pretty popular spot. If you try to fish this on the weekend, you have so many boats out here. This is a weekday. It's really the only time I'll ever try to fish the Intercoastal because it's a narrow channel. The other reason why I'm fishing this right now is because it's too low for me to get into some of my back bay spots. The tide is extremely low today. I'm not going to be able to get across unless I try to float the boat across some bars. So I have that trolling motor pointed into the wind, and I'm just taking myself right down the channel. Slow drift. You know, it says here on my screen that I'm doing a little over a mile an hour, but I doubt I'm even doing that much. That's just because the propeller's moving. That's what it's saying on the iPilot remote. But just keep myself in the channel, going right along, bouncing the jig rail on the bottom. That last fish didn't even like hit it hard, it just sucked it in, and all of a sudden I felt dead weight on there. And sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes they don't hit it real hard. And the water's cold today. It's 58 degrees right now where I'm at. First bluefish of the year. That's 3 of the fish. These are the weak fish for the Grand Slam. First blue, not real big, but now we have a striper, a keeper flounder, and a bluefish. I'm going to keep this guy. I don't keep too many bluefish, but I will keep this one. All right, so not bad. Again, these fish are, you see how I'm grabbing them? I'm grabbing them behind the head. When you grab them behind the head and the gills here, they don't really move too much. I'll show you his mouth. See? They have some chompers in there and they will bite down. You don't put your finger anywhere near the bluefish's mouth. He's not even letting me open his mouth. There you go. There you go. There's a nice picture of the bluefish. So, not real big, but he did hit it pretty hard. All right. Okay, one tip I can give you guys is if you're going to keep bluefish, especially bluefish, and you don't want them to taste too gamey, you want to bleed them. So basically what you do is you take a bucket of water and you cut their throat right here. I'm going to obviously keep them. This will actually, it sounds kind of not humane, but it's actually better because the fish will die faster. It'll just bleed out instead of it sitting in the cooler and flopping around all the time. So all you do is you just cut right through their gills, and then he'll just bleed out on his own. You can see him there. He'll just bleed out, and that fish, that fillet, will taste a lot better because it won't have so much blood in it. Well guys, while we're going back to the spot here, so far I've caught one striper. I missed one. I caught one flounder, keeper, and I caught one bluefish, which I'm going to keep. So I am 1 week fish away from a Back Bay Grand Slam here in New Jersey, and I have not done that in a long time. So I'm going to give flounder fishing a little bit of a try here, and then I'm going to try to catch a weak fish, see if I can get one. I don't have shutter crabs with me. That's usually what you get them on, but maybe I can get them on an artificial in one of these deep holes. So I'm hoping. We'll see. I haven't caught many weak fish in the last couple of years, as most people haven't, but it'd be really cool to get a Great Bay Grand Slam. So we'll see if I can do that. One. Take your time. Maybe. Pretty close. Just short, 17 and a half. Well guys, the wind picked up a little bit in the afternoon. We fished pretty hard in the morning, and the tide, we had to wait for the tide to basically start coming back in. The tide was slack for a little while there, so it wasn't the best timing for the tides, but like I said, I just wanted to make sure I got out and got a chance to go fishing today. So I ended up getting one striper, short one, probably about 22 inches. I missed another one on that same drift. Both of them hit a popper. Tried with a fly rod a little bit. Did not get any on the fly rod. After that, I ended up getting one keeper flounder at 19 and 19 and a quarter or so, and caught 4 flounder total. It was a slow bite with the flounder. The water was cold. I didn't see a lot of fish caught, and then I got one bluefish that hit when I was drifting for flounder, also on a Gulp jig. So, you know, in all, it was a pretty good day. It was definitely not the best conditions, considering it rained hard the last couple days, and you know, the water is dirty, the tide is pretty quick, and the water is cold. I mean, even now the water only came up 3 degrees all day. It's at 63 degrees now. So, you know, for the beginning of flounder season, I tried fishing deeper holes. I tried fishing some of the flats. I caught that one fish in the intercoastal in about 8 feet of water, the one keeper, and he didn't hit very hard. It was a very sluggish fish. So, you know, other than that, you know, like I said, it's early in the season yet. I hope to put some more videos out there, you know, definitely as the summer comes on. But I haven't had a chance to get out in the water that much. So even with the conditions being what they were today, I figured I'd try to make the best of it. So other than that, I hope you learned something, and thanks for watching.